I am literally the person who prided myself. I'm like, I'm doing 12-hour days, getting my business off the ground, and people cheered me on, right? There's a time and a place.
Working 60 hours constantly per week should not even be something that the leadership folks would do. If you work 60 hours, there's not going to be enough for you to have all kinds of rests that your brain needs.
Today I'm joined by one of the most influential figures in Finland's gaming scenes, leading Dreamloop for over 10 years and leading over 40 console title releases. He's chaired the Finnish Game Developer Association and helped shape the startup ecosystem in Finland through Platform 6 and Tampere Game Hub.
The leader in the group is the waiter who comes there and asks the team what they need, listens to the team, takes the complaints, takes into their allergies and their preferences, and then gets it done.
We break down human-led leadership, the hours tracking debate nobody wants to talk about, and how to actually lead from the front as a leader. Some people say, you're going to be replaced by people who use AI. You're not going to be replaced by AI.
I'll never have AI write anything of your own reports, anything of your own messaging. Use AI to be, your editor in terms of telling you that, hey, your grammar sucks. But don't get your answers from AI, because then your brain not registering those answers. As human beings, we have not evolved in the past 2,000 years. Our brain is still working the same as when we were at the early ages of civilization.
If you care about growing your career in games sustainably and getting your studio to ship at scale, please enjoy today's playbook with Joni Lappalainen. Joni, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I'm so excited. We've got so much to talk about because you've been talking a lot as well recently. I've noticed on your LinkedIn, it's a big discussion point in the comment section, and we're going to be talking about some of the things today. So for people who don't know, one of the most influential figures in Finland's gaming scene, over 40 console titles led at Dreamloop Games. He's also chaired the Finnish Game Developer Association and helped shape the startup ecosystem in Finland through the Tampere Game Hub and Platform 6. So today, there's 1,001 things we could talk about. So what we're going to talk about mostly is about building and leading a studio that ships. So I want to get straight into it. So Joni, for people who don't know, kind of what was your first break in games? How did this all start?
Wow, that takes me back because after I was done with high school, I actually thought that I had a future in the Finnish military. I think I like the idea of discipline and the challenges and so forth. And, of course, going and doing my conscription was really challenging times, especially doing the reservoir officer course, which really pushed us mentally and physically. And I thought after that I'm going to continue with this journey, and I will be applying to the Finnish military academy, which I did. And I got a place there, and I was thinking going there. But then, fate intervened. I broke my ankle. I ended up in the University of Applied Sciences, learned to program, became the head of student union and part of the school's board, and never kind of looked back. But even then, I didn't think that I would go into game industry per se. Especially because this is 2010, so the Finnish game industry was still way, way smaller than what it is now. And we mostly had big boys back then, like Remedy and Rovio and such. Housemarque, of course. And I ended up on paper industry for 5 years first. Definitely not challenging, definitely not interesting. So I ended up doing my second university degree back then, and then quitting and coming to Tampere, where I then first started as a junior game programmer in one of the studios here. That lasted maybe 3 months, and then I started to plan on making my own studio. Because Tampere had so many opportunities to start your own company and getting into the startup scene and getting so much mentorship and advisory, different programs and so forth. So it just felt like, that might be challenging enough. It might be interesting enough. And, I've been playing games my entire life. So even making some games back in Click and Play and Game Factory and whatnot, those old tools that you had in early 2000s. And as well, of course, I had such a long history with tabletop role-playing. So making games just felt natural, and I was correct. It is a very challenging field to jump into.
Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to get into that. So it sounded like, just from hearing like 3 different points in your life, you kind of, quote unquote, got bored, like it wasn't challenging enough. But I'm wondering, that's a big challenge, right? Like 3 months into, I guess, a new career, you just decided, oh, I might as well start my own studio. And that was Dreamloop, right?
That was Dreamloop, yeah. It's been over 10 years now.
Crazy. So that's not a common story. Have you seen any other people who've done that? Like, a few months in, start their own studio, and then just keep it kicking after 10 years? Or
well, I don't think that is in any way a common story. I think most of the cases where the studio has been around over 10 years, those people have already, when they founded the studio, known what they're doing. We definitely did not know what we were doing. We were just a couple of junior guys who just had to grow being seniors like overnight. And we even went and we wanted to do our own game back then. We wanted to do this game that would be an online multiplayer game, and not an MMO. Dear God, we were not that stupid back then. But then we eventually turned it into the idea into a single player, a little bit narrative first kind of a game. But funnily enough, even after 10 years, we have still not shipped that game because we got busy with all other projects. So that one is still kind of like finding its time and version of that we would believe to be the one that we want to get out eventually.
Super cool. So just curious here, like the games that you said you were playing all your life, is that similar to the games you're making now? Because like for people who don't know, like Dreamloop, yes, you make your own IP games, but also help a lot of other companies make their games. And I can imagine there's a lot of different types of games that you're making at Dreamloop. I'm wondering, is there like a specific focus that you have? Is it similar to the ones you were playing before?
In a sense, of course, like I was a console kid myself, did play PC as well somewhat, but actually I just got my first like really games worthy PC maybe like 8 years ago or something like that. So up until then, I was mostly playing.
So I'm a veteran compared to you. I've been playing PC games since. Well, let me find. Yeah, it was at least 2007. So 18 years. I was like 9, but I was like I was playing a lot. I was on Miniclip all day, then MMO and RuneScape. So I did not know that 8 years. So console was the main focus.
Oh yeah, I even in the lobby of my apartment, I have this massive box of like Xbox 360 games that I'm taking to the game museum here in Tampere because some of those are for museum purposes and some of them are just going to be props and stuff like that. But I had so much, especially at the time of the Xbox 360, I had so much games. Like my Friday was that I would go to GameStop and I would just buy for the weekend like 2 to 3 new games and just play them as much as I played them. And next week I would get some new games.
So if we fast forward to today, because that's such a cool story and there's so much we can get into. So if we're looking at today's landscape, like what do you think Dreamloop is doing better than other studios kind of right now? Like kind of, is there a magic sauce or a specific trait that you see like Dreamloop has compared to the other studios you're working with?
It's probably, I would credit it to the taking the right approach with risk management. Dreamloop, for example, have never taken like big risk investments. We have like 2 angel investors who have come with a friends and family type of case early on, and we never really taken like big risk investments. And I think that has partially been then driving us into a place where we put our eggs into a lot of baskets. It means that we have not been able to immediately be focusing on one thing, doing our moonshot. But it also means that not taking a moonshot means that there's not that high risk for you to fall down as you're going so high. I think that's one of the biggest things. Is like you said, we've been working on over 40 titles in the past 10 years. helped a lot of studios and publishers with their games. Like we talked about Buckstorm and Fireshine, um, Untold Tales. Sorry, not Untold. Unfold Tales. No, Unfold Games. There's way too many similar names there. Unfold, who made The Dark, and is now working on the Bloody Hell Hotel. And we worked with Funcom. We worked with Layers of Fear 2, and so forth. We've been having our hands in such a many projects, and it's been, of course, at the same time, it can be not so media sexy to work on a smaller part on many projects. But when it comes to risk management, if one of those get cancelled or something doesn't go well, you're still getting money from the other sources that are going well and that are getting to the targets and so forth.
That's interesting. So if I'm, let's say, Joni 10 years ago, but in a different parallel universe, 3 months in, I realized I want to start my own studio. Would you recommend kind of everyone start a studio in this way, where they're not going moonshot onto their student project, for example, trying to make that and get a publisher? They should be kind of having multiple fingers in multiple pies to make sure the revenue goes, because I feel like this was a choice that was made quite early on. I don't know if I'm getting that right. Like, is this something that kind of most people should do when they want to kind of start their own studio, try to build their own team?
Well, for us, it was, of course, because we merged together with Vasara Entertainment. That was another team based here in Tampere, in the same spaces where we had our office space. And with them, we got the game called Stardust Galaxy Warriors, which we then decided as our first work together as this combined 2 studios would to take that game onto consoles and make a definitive edition of it and kind of upgrade the version that was on Steam back then. By the way, Steam had 7,000 games back then.
Total?
Only 7,000, yeah.
Yeah. You could probably scan them all in an afternoon if you really went for it.
Yeah. It was a completely different world 10 years ago. Like now there's, I think, over 140,000. So it's drastically has increased. So with that, we decided to go on consoles, and that was the first thing that we kind of like wanted to do. When we were doing that, other people were interested us to help them with the console side of things. For example, Funcom. And eventually through that, we started to do porting, and eventually that led into co-development that we've been doing now in the longer period of time. And we still, of course, work on our own games as well, as for example, like the I'm on observation duty games with Notovia now.
Gorgeous. Alrighty. And yeah, 120,000 according to Gemini right now on Steam. It's funny, I checked on Steam website itself, says 30,000 games. I think they haven't updated their kind of data on the little Google search. Yeah, mad. Alrighty. So Joni, with all the stuff that you're doing, like which problem are you obsessed with solving now?
Right now, it's like, I know that in the modern times, everyone are trying to figure out the question around utilizing AI to cut down costs or improve games and experiences, different kind of hacks and methods and processes. And I'm interested to not fixing something, but focusing more support on the people in the industry. Because no matter how much we have tools, if our people don't sleep at night, none of the use of tools is going to be any beneficial for anyone.
All right, let's dig into it. So I've scanned your LinkedIn, and there's this one post that went super viral and had a lot of, let's put it this way, discussion in the comments. And it was about tracking your employees' time. And yeah, the comment section was quite spicy. I was wondering kind of, why did you start tracking employee hours, and kind of how does that evolve? Because that's not a common thing you hear where someone openly talks about tracking their employee time, especially now.
Yeah, it's very simple for us. It is for all of us when we spend more time working for the company. That time is away from whoever we're, having anyone else in our lives, our family, our friends, our hobbies, our like part in the industry and so forth. You're taking that time away from somewhere. And as a company, as the leaders in that company, we want to track that down so that we can give it back. And we also want to use it as an indicator also for the fact of, are you doing good? Are you getting enough rest? Are you potentially having something in the project that is making you spend so much time? Are you leaving something unsaid? And so forth. All of this helps us to, and especially our HR and producers, to see like, hey, something is not right. You've been at the office 3 days in a row until 9 p.m. when you have arrived at 9 a.m. Like, what's going on?
What is going on? I'm guessing that's happened, right? Like, give me an example, because I feel like the reason I want to ask for the example here is I can imagine CEOs hearing it and like, great, I can't wait to track my hours time, but I want to see what that actually looks like in practice. Like, how does that conversation happen?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the question why people are staying so long, it's most of the time it is the ownership that they take. And at the same time, I agree with everyone who says that when people have the opportunity to take ownership, they perform their best. And then there are people who take it as a mantle that was given to them as the hero opportunity to showcase the world that they are the Superman of their field. That now that they've been given this mantle, they will for sure deliver and put everything that they have on it, which in anyone's mind, when you think about it, is courageous. It is definitely something that is heroic, but at the same time, we don't often see the hero comics, like how are the heroes feeling after that massive battle that they won. Like, there's no chapter next that showcases Spider-Man being in a hospital for a month or similar. They just they basically shrug it off page. Unfortunately, us humans don't have off pages. We need to live all the moments of our lives. And hence, those people who really push hard, that they really take that ownership and they embody the project. While it is meaningful, good, and sometimes good for the project, but all of that is immediately lost if that is done by the health of that individual, and most of the time caused by themselves, not by demands set to them. And when I say themselves, it might not be just that one individual, but that the team's dynamic is such, or that there is another co-worker that is kind of like setting that example or so. It is very much of, as with everything with human beings. We're a group, like we're looking to be part of a group, and that usually can lead into it.
This is interesting, Joni, because I'm in my bubble, right? My bubble, marketing agency. I'm like, let's go, let's do more, hell yeah. And I've never consumed, I guess, like my side of the world where I'm trying to learn how to do better business. Yeah, we should make sure your people aren't working too hard. And when I'm thinking about what you're saying here, I'm like, is working like, let's say 60 plus hours a week kind of ever justified in a studio if you're not like the owner or leadership? Like, do you feel like this should kind of be a de facto rule, so to speak? Or is this just kind of like your way of doing things? Because I'm hearing you now and I feel like this might be just the better way, but I'm curious what you think.
No, honestly, I think that working 60 hours constantly per week should not even be something that the leadership folks would do, because if you work 60 hours, there's not going to be enough for you to have all kinds of rests that your brain needs.
What if I love my work, Joni?
I know, but your brain unfortunately cannot get everything that it needs from your work.
How are you so sure of that? That's maybe this is my question. Like, how are you so sure? Because obviously, I don't hear many people coming up and saying this, and I am literally the person who prided myself. I'm like, I'm doing 12-hour days, getting my business off the ground, and people cheered me on. Right? There's a time and a place, but it's interesting seeing how much confidence you have in it. I'm just curious where it comes from.
Before getting that, I'm going to ask you a question that I want to be on the back of your head while we go this through. Go through in your mind everyone who are past 55 and they're part of game industry that you know. And then think about just how often they are in conferences and so forth. Now, the reason why I'm so confident about this is because our brain needs more than just sleep in order to recover. It needs creative rest, for example, that you can get at work. But to be honest, most of the time the challenge is that you need to go ahead and figure it's related to creativity, but it's not a creative work for yourself. You're not getting the creative freedom on doing it. You're still doing a service for your team, for your client, and so forth. Now, I'm not even gonna get started like how in the modern day you're not gonna get a sensory rest while you do your work. Like, tell me a type of a work where you don't look any kind of a screen or listen to any kind of audio or something like that. It's like you need to be a lumberjack pretty much to have sensory rest for your work.
This is so funny, Joni. I don't mean to interrupt, but today was the first day in a long time where I went for a run with my older brother in the morning to start the day. And I made it a point not to listen to a podcast or something. And it sounds silly, but like I feel great. I have so much energy. I don't know what's happened. It's kind of frustrating actually because I've been quite tired like the last couple of weeks. And I haven't been exercising thinking, I need to do a bunch of work before kind of December kicks in because then I will be resting. But yeah, literally waking up a bit earlier, doing the run, and I feel a lot better. And I'm like, it's like, it's so annoying because like, is the answer that simple? Sometimes like just something with no audio. Because in my head, I want to listen to that podcast. I want to have that. I want to maximize my time. Like that's the mindset. But hearing you say that, I just connected to this morning. I was like, oh, great.
There is this whole old saying, at least in the Nordics, is that when you're feeling overwhelmed, just go and walk in the forest, and you can, face your challenges after. And that's the thing. It's like most of the time, your brain starts to be so overwhelmed with all the sensory information that it's getting that all it needs is just to watch the sky and the trees and the path that you're walking. I did kind of the same thing as you when I was in South Korea. In Seoul a couple of weeks ago, I woke up the first night at like 2 a.m. and I just couldn't fall back asleep because of jet lag or whatever. And then after I got bored in my hotel room, I was like, yeah, I have my like sneakers with me, so I'm just gonna go for a run. It was like 6 a.m. in Seoul. I was just going for a run, and there was a good thing. There was a couple of parks really close by, so I just went to run around. I saw people, sleeping on the street in their suits and whatnot. I guess the company party had gone a little bit long, and I didn't have music or anything. I just watched the scenery. I ran maybe 3.5 kilometers and came back, and then I just went to the conference, and I could go through the entire day with little caffeine and such. Because made sure I got my oxygen, made sure I got my rest for my sensors, and in general, always doing a little bit of exercise helps.
Yeah, for sure. So, is there a way we encourage this within a studio? Because I feel like I'm trying to watch my language here, but like, is it almost parental, like in a bad way, when you start telling the team, "Hey, stop working so much," or "Hey, have you exercised?" Like I'm wondering that dynamic, if you ever get any pushback, because I feel like it's a delicate matter. I don't know if I'm kind of putting, maybe it's not delicate, but like it feels delicate.
We saw the LinkedIn comments. It's very delicate topic. You can very quickly, no matter what you say, because it doesn't matter what you say, it matters what people hear. The moment that you start to talk about this, there's a lot of people who hear that the parental tone because of their background, and they start to say that you're not treating people as adults and you're taking away their freedom when you're just trying to make sure that in the moment of hecticness, in the moment of the heroism, that they remember to look in the mirror and be like, are you rested? Are you okay? Did you sleep well last night? Did you have, did you eat well? When you seen last time your best friend? Is your spouse and pets and kids happy with what you
Those
do?
are good KPIs. Those
Yeah.
should be. Those are very good KPIs.
So in that sense, like, I don't think anyone who's been in this industry and are over 55 now, that they are doing 60 plus weeks. Because if they have survived that long in the industry, that they're reaching towards their 60s, they have been able to figure out how to stay in this industry and keep their company moving forward without them extending themselves so drastically.
Because there's this saying, I don't see a lot of people do it, but it's a big statement right now, at least on LinkedIn, in my little bubble in the States. There's a thing called 996. Don't know if you've seen it, where they have this founder startup mentality where until they accomplish something, they will do 996, which is 9 hours a day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. And they will do that until they achieve something, usually in the same room, all together hustling. And then there's like these people saying, look, let people do the 996 if they want to do it. And there's people saying, no, this is objectively stupid. What the hell? And hearing you speaking now, like, what's the math on that? 6 days times 12, 72 hours a week. Yeah, I can't like,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is a US, Europe, Nordic thing. Because I know Nordics, they're quite, like, for example, Finland has less than an 8 hour workday. I think it's 7.5 hours, I guess.
7.5 hours, yeah.
Yeah, like nationwide, this is a cultural thing nationwide as well. Like, work is not your life. Where I feel like that's not the case when I was doing recruitment, especially in the US. I didn't see the case at all. Like, people had two jobs. It was very normal. And in some of the Eastern European countries, I got that a lot, where they're just like, just give me more time. I'm happy to do 10, 12-hour days. Most of them worked on the weekend. Say most, I'm generalizing, but like, there was a clear distinction when I spoke to a candidate, depending on where they're from. And yeah, it's weird because when I speak to you, it makes so much sense. But then I guess I remove myself from this conversation, Yoni, and then I see online and I see how it's like in Cyprus or just other countries. I'm like, it can't be that simple, right? Just work less. But I don't know. It's
in a sense, I don't say that for efficiency either way is the right way, as long as the person is able to like keep up with it. Now, when you're in your 20s, I think many agree that it is way easier to dedicate yourself to your work and just go on and on long days, because what is outside of your work at that time? You might not be like in a steady relationship yet. You might not have kids yet. Your friends might be mostly your co-workers, so you can go for beers after that. You still have enough time for your hobbies that you do twice a week or so. But let's add into equation 2 kids that you need to take into their hobbies, daycare, all that stuff. You have your own house that you need to take care of the lawn, and in Finland for half of the year take care of the snow. You have a dog that you need to take out, and then also a spouse on top of those kids that you need to still keep your relationship meaningful. Because we talked about this once. I don't remember what occasion, what conference it was, but in Finland the divorce rate is over 50%. So many of those are not caused by work, but the work-life balance probably has had a lot of effect along the way. So in that sense, like when you're then starting to be, let's say in the 30s, you're going to get your kids, and then you go into 40s, and when the rush years becomes when you need to spend a lot of time with the kids as well. Like I'm talking like with no experience because I have no kids of my own. But it's like, if you're going to do 996 with that, it's like, well, when are those kids gonna see you? When you wake up groggy and angry, and tell them to shut up and you
I mean,
go to
physically,
work?
they can't see you unless it's a Sunday.
Yeah,
Like literally,
exactly.
physically, I'm just thinking you'd probably go to bed around 11 or 12.
Yeah,
So literally, logistically, no one's seen you.
exactly. And of course, like my expectation of any kind of like bigger cities in US, 996 doesn't mean that you leave home at 9 and be home at 9. I've seen those problems on commuting or driving to work in the US. So I'm not expecting that to be in any
I think it's
way
an
leading.
hour each way,
Yeah.
average or something crazy. I actually watched a video recently. It was a bit jarring. It was someone recording their commute in, it was Korea or Japan. I'm so sorry, but they recorded their commute, and no one was speaking. I think it was Japan, and it was literally he wrote in the hook of the kind of video as a 1 hour commute. It was 1 hour both ways, and literally goes there and then literally works from like 9 till 6. So his whole life he didn't even account for the fact that getting to the train took some time. So he actually left the building at 7:30. So it was actually like a 3 hour total commute, and he was home and then literally had an hour. He ate and then slept, and it was like weird, like the life of a salary man in Japan. It was something like that. And I saw that and I was like, holy shit. Like it's scary. It felt so robotic. It was a very weird experience to like see someone like vlog it.
Yeah, and I think there was some dimension why everything in Japanese TV, be it anime, movies, or anything, happens while you're a student, because there's not a lot to tell afterwards. Because all you do after
Wow.
that is you just spend your
Clock in, clock out.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I can recommend everyone to watch the show called Zomb 100, where the guy just cures a salaryman cures depression by a form of zombie apocalypse, because he no longer needs to go to work.
I mean, that's funny because I started watching a show which I think is based on that. I forgot what it's called, but it's one where everyone disappears and then there's like a game or something. It was weird. Like people were getting really happy that everyone disappeared because like I don't have to go to work, or I don't have my parents shouting at me. It's like, what do you mean? Everyone's dead. What's happening?
Yeah, I think that's Alice in Borderlands.
That's the one. Yeah, I started watching that, and it was jarring because I know some people would react like that person reacted. It's like, no responsibility is amazing. I'm like, what do you mean?
That's the thing. Yeah. No, but I think all in all, I don't think that in a long term, and when I'm talking long term, I'm talking your entire career.
Yeah.
You cannot go with something like 996. You can do it for a short while. I had a very controlled crunch. Like I did put that cape one time in 2023 when a colleague got sick for a longer period of time, and I planned my days. Like, I planned that I will do 10-hour days here in order to like make this happen, because didn't have an opportunity to hire, train, and get someone else to take the ball.
Can we talk about that? Like, how did you do that? Because let's say I wanted to do that, Joni. How do you do that? I don't know how I managed to ask you this question, but like, how do you crunch correctly?
If you know that you need to do it, you have to figure out how long you're going to do it. You gotta put an end date to it, because otherwise you will just continue doing it, right? I had it so that I had 3 weeks that I was planning to do it. I planned, for example, my eating accordingly to that. So it meal prep, just like people going to the gym with like really specific gains in mind. With crunch, you need to do the same thing. You need to have your sustenance in a very specific way. You plan it out in a day. You prepare it, and then also making sure that you like keep your hydration like steady throughout the day. Don't do it too much at one go, because then you just flush out the minerals, and keep it very, very focusingly and very systematically throughout, and never compromise your sleep when you're crunching. Like,
what does that mean? Like for you, 7 hours, 8 hours?
I prefer 8. I can do 7. But I prefer 8 because I know that then even if I had a little bit of a hard time falling asleep or I wake up during the night, I still get enough sleep.
Yeah, you still get your 7.
Yeah. And of course, like at any point, have that internal story with you. And that's another whole topic. Like I am a firm believer that everything between human beings is just stories that we pass to one another, and then we agree or disagree on that stories. Laws are the same. So have that internal story for yourself that this is not something that you should stress or feel bad about. If you at any point have a moment of like you're feeling overwhelmed, go walk in a forest, leave yourself time. Even if you do long days, leave yourself a little bit of a time to go and just walk. No headphones, no phone, just go and walk. We have a great park next to our office. It's always great to go and just do a walk if I have, for example, a call with Los Angeles time, because then it starts to be like 6 or 7 in the evening when I need to take them. Around 5 is great to go for a half an hour walk. And then
Do you budget that in? You mentioned to allow some time. So like I have the unfortunate trait where I am very optimistic about what I can do in a day. So I'm like, look at all this stuff I wish I could do today. And then, inevitably life happens and I'm getting better at it. But like, do you actually physically block in Slack, I guess? Like not Slack as in the platform, but like buffer. Like, do you put that in the calendar?
Oh, of course. Like if it's not in the calendar, you're easily, leaving it out. At least that's for me. Like I have everything in my calendar. Even when I stream during weekends on Twitch, when I watch my anime with my friends from Germany, all of that is in my calendar. When I have my basketball practice, everything. Because when it's in my calendar, I see that if I'm trying to put something there, I already had planned some sort of recreational activities there. So, and another thing, beside putting your recreational and relaxation activities in your calendar, is also to have a not to do list.
That's new to me. What do you mean? What's that?
Well, as the same thing is when you're putting something on your to do list or you're starting to work on to do something and you remember something, there's always a benefit to ask yourself, is this gonna be better to build in to-do list, dedicate my time over all of the other things that I need to do? Or shall I put it to not to-do list and communicate that to whoever needs to know that I'm not doing this? And then just literally not, taking the hand off of writing that I'm not gonna do this, inform whoever needs to know that you're not doing it, and then move on to do the stuff on your to-do list.
So I think my version of that is backlog. But if I'm getting really inspired to do my backlog, I keep saying it, and for people listening, like I'm not a mess. I'm obviously not perfect, but I do find myself falling into that trap, right? Like I'm doing something which is a much more 2026 exciting project when I know I have something due tomorrow and I should probably be doing that, right? But maybe it's worth framing it to myself like, this is a not to do list. Like do this after we quote unquote ran out of to do list.
Yeah. And also when it's something that is long time in the future, just mark it long time in the future. Like, if it's something for 26, mark it for December or like now I could say November. We're in November, so I'm not going to say November. But put it to the further down the line already in the calendar, because at least for me, if I know that I have put it in the calendar, I don't need to think.
Yeah, I can mentally check out, right?
Yeah, I don't need to think about it. One of the things that I found so amazing being in the elementary school way back in day, is to know exactly what you're supposed to think just by looking at your calendar. You don't think about English while you're on math class, or you don't think about religion while you're on biology class. I mean, religion and biology might have some conflicts if you're talking about the same subject, but in general, it was always clear that I know what I need to be thinking about now because my calendar tells me.
I want to be a better leader. I realized that my business will only grow as much as my skill in leadership will grow, right? Because I could hit my theoretical peak, but then that will literally be the peak of the business. So the only next step is growing as a leader. And as someone who's been doing this for effectively 10 years, and you're in the unique situation because you work with other projects which have their own leaders, and it's obviously in the games industry, which is one of the most challenging things. So I'm just curious, when you speak to young people or you see other leaders, like, what have you learned around leadership that you'd like to kind of maybe dispel, that people believe something that is maybe not true? What I'd love from you here is maybe a misconception that we can break here around leadership, something tactical.
Well, first and foremost, there's many ways of leadership, but the one that I find the most efficient and honestly just my personal favorite is the service leadership. I often quote that the leader in the group is the waitress, is the waiter who comes there and asks the team what they need, listens to the team, takes the complaints, takes the suggestion on the menu, takes into their allergies and their preferences, and then gets it done. Then goes and talk with the other team, which is the kitchen staff, and tells, if we're gonna be putting 20 more hours of work for this guy, I think they're gonna choke. And if we don't allow this guy to, this guy's order is that he would like to take a Friday off next week. If we don't do that, I think he will be very disappointed because his spouse will be very angry at him and so forth. So I think that's my favorite type of a leader, is to be the waiting staff for the team. Not to be the boss, not to be the commander that shouts down commands. It's the one who listens, the team, and then removes roadblocks in front of them.
How do we do this? Is this can we take the remote example? So let's say there's no office here, for example's sake. Is this on a weekly one-to-one you recommend? Is this on a Slack message? Because if I can ask you a business question for me, like, if I have someone on the team who's remote, we have our weekly one-to-one, and we have a daily call, which happens to be effectively like reviewing content and office hours. I find it where sometimes it goes to the one-to-one where I still need to pull out this stuff, like you say, where let's say I'm the waiter. I'm wondering, like, is there kind of like a checklist or a process to kind of be able to do this with enough feedback loops so it's not like a formal process? If you understand where I'm coming from here, like I feel like it would help here if I understand, like, kind of how do you do this in practice?
The best thing is just to ask them and encourage them to answer as long as they start to do it themselves. Like, the best situation is when they think of something, they immediately text you about it. That's when you know that you have been able to establish that as a leader. We have many folks in the history of Dreamloop that the moment that they've been facing something in the project, they immediately message me. Sometimes I've even said, like, oh, thanks for letting me know, but actually in this project, I'm not your producer. So could you let Rory know, for example? And that's when I know that, we have been able to get that, like, leadership there, that they will immediately voice their concerns, voice out their thoughts, because it has been going on long enough and they feel like, there is a benefit for saying.
Yeah, because I like that you immediately said, thank you for messaging me, but it's this. So it sounds like it's very inbuilt in the culture to kind of celebrate this behavior and reward it.
Yeah, because any time that someone brings criticism to you, when you're being the lead for them, when they bring criticism to you, you should thank them for doing so. Because even if it makes you, like, frustrated, especially then you should thank them for it. Yeah. Because if you start with frustration, or if you start your sentence with a no, in the subconscious mind of that person, that is like, that no means I should not come up with other topics of similar thing. If I'm
Yeah.
being thanked, it means I was appreciated for voicing this thing out. There's so much importance on the first words that you say after someone has provided any kind of feedback or their thoughts or anything like that. Usually the more emotional thing that is to them, the more I feel like you should take the moments to acknowledge that.
Mhm.
After they got it out of their system, tell them like, hey, thank you really that you said this to me, because I see that this is like not an easy topic, and I understand your point of view. And like, let them first understand that, yeah, you're there, and you're not just gonna get into an argument. You might disagree, and that's that is normal. Of course, in different situations, people don't like agree with one another, but it still should not come as a, I don't want to say things because we just get into an argument. The feeling should be, I should be telling these things out because it's helpful for us all, and we might disagree on it, but I will still like make sure that I speak my mind and not hold it in.
Yeah. It's also important to note that this only takes one time to not reward it, where they will then stop doing it for the rest of their time, right? Which is very interesting, because you could be doing the right thing over and over again, but let's say you slip up and then for like a couple of weeks you don't reward it, or you get frustrated because you're having a bad moment. That person might, for now, until something is really done differently, not speak up as much as they used to, which is like, it's important to get right from the start and like keep up the habit.
Yeah. Now it's this is a little bit of an extreme example. You might be, friends with someone for years or decades, and you really done a lot for each other. You helped them at a hard time, and they helped you with your big projects and stuff like that. Then one day they just punch you in the face. Will you, from there on out, like how do you value of decade of good times and one punch in the face?
Yeah, it's not fun, but
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily going to kill him or her.
That one punch lasted a second. There's a lot of seconds in 10 years. But still our brain overweights that one punch at least almost to an equal level, if not higher, than the 10 years of
Yeah, wow.
all the
When
good
you put
stuff.
it that way, it's pretty crazy.
And that's why it is important to like do better every day when it comes to communications, especially if you're in the lead position. Like, make sure that you do every day a little bit better. Your best don't need to look, of course, the same every day, but you're just making sure that you're planning to do better, a little bit better every day. Because when your mindset is in doing better, you're not throwing punches, because your brain is saying, hey, how is throwing a punch here better?
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Love it. Allow me a tactical question here. How would you run a one-to-one?
What I do, run them. And honestly, my first question always starts when I would do one-to-one is like, so how you been? Like, how's your child growing up? What you've been doing with your spouse lately? How's it been going with that hobby of yours? And not because I just want them to get into a mood or anything, but because I want to know things about them, because talking to a associate or a acquaintance is a completely different thing than talk to a friend.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you
it's
get
not,
different answers, right? You get different responses.
yeah. And in the end, anyone can say whatever they want about this, but you always shoot the messenger. That's what we humans do. It depends who tells us what, is if we spare them or not. It is literally, anyone can tell you a news, but depending on who it is who tells it, you react differently. And that's why always anyone that you have one-on-ones, you should be establishing. You don't need to overshare everything to them. You don't need to invite them into your life and your home and stuff like that. But invite them into close enough that they feel like that they can talk to you. Because otherwise, what if they don't get along with their coworker and they don't feel like talking to you? They will hold it in and they will lose sleep, and you wonder what's wrong, and you ask and they don't talk. So you need to be able to establish like enough closeness. And I honestly think that people should connect more. We live in a world where like the world is trying to push us into disagreeing over or arguing over disagreements instead of talking and understanding. So it can be for a lot of people, for example, more junior people, very meaningful that their lead is actually remembering the name of their spouse or about their hobbies and stuff like that. Because a lot of people don't, like, they just don't care. In individuals' place in this world is becoming more and more smaller and more controversial for everything that they say or do.
It's funny you're saying that. So, I found a new term today, which reminds me something. Let me see if I can find it, because it's very similar to. So there's this doctor, psychologist, Dr. K.
Oh, I heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got like this gamer thing, Dr. K gamer, and he called something on a podcast. I was listening to it the other day. It was the hunky dory. Is that the thing? He had a term for it. I think it was hunky dory, but I might be butchering it. But he was talking about, especially now, like young people who aren't connected and they are trying to escape their life by putting all their time in games, maybe not leaving the house, maybe not working. And it was interesting. He, on the podcast, someone submitted a question. It was a lady who had basically lived as a hermit, effectively, not leaving the house, games all day, not leaving. And for 3 years, she realized, oh shit, I need to change my life. And then she did the opposite. So she got 2 jobs. She's working really hard. She's meeting people. She has a boyfriend now. But then the question was, some days I want to self-sabotage and like ruin it all, because she's changed the challenge, which was, I guess, dealing with herself. And now she's like, maybe this is too overwhelming. I need to like go back to the old habits. And it got me, because I was listening to that. I was like, I wonder how many people feel that to a lesser extent, but like for years in a company. Because if you have no one to talk to at work, and let's say you have no one to talk to at home, you're just stuck in your head, right? Like,
yeah,
you might only logistically have your manager who, if they don't ask that question, that might be the one chance where someone asks you truly, like, how's it going?
Yep. And I think it was very inspiring once. I think it was Seb Downey Blackwell who said it once, that sometimes being a leader means that you're helping your the person that you're managing, that you help them to optimize their LinkedIn, their Tinder profile.
Wow.
Sometimes that's what they need from you. It should, whatever it is that they need from you in order to like be comfortable about their life so that they can be effective in the work, is what you should be helping them with.
That's so crazy, because I'm reflecting now on my one-to-ones. I don't know if my managers listen to this, but like pretty much all of my one-to-ones was not about work. It was just about what was going on at home, right? And that was the main thing that needed fixing at the time. And it's so weird of an experience reflecting on that now, but because I'm on the other side, I just didn't think about how helpful it was. I'm just thinking, okay, I guess I need to check how many posts were written this week, or how is this going, or yeah, it's weird when I zoom out and then have to zoom back in. I'm just talking here as transparently, like as a leader myself. Like I feel like I knew this lesson deep down, but I'm like truthfully not integrating it as much as I think I should after this podcast.
And as I mentioned earlier, we live in an age where we are looking for new technologies, new innovations, a way of using AI in order to like get people to work better, to have better life. But honestly, it's the most boring answer ever. Is you just need people in your life that you connect with, because then a lot of the work starts to be built from that, because your brain is feeling the feeling of being part of a group, being part of a friend group, or part of a relationship, part of a family. And that's when all of those like self-inflictive thoughts that comes with loneliness, those start to go away. And that's when you get that working for an individual, that individual will perform better at work than the one who is trying to run away from those problems by overworking.
Yeah.
The overworking works short time, but to show me a person who does that 20 years effectively.
Yeah. Who has happy wife, maybe some kids, all of that jazz.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have their own demons they're fighting with. Like, yeah, it will be hard pressed to find that person. And it's interesting you saying the AI comment, because obviously I'm using AI in what we're doing now. So a big thing that saves us time is building a list of people to contact for the events that we're doing. And AI is very good at qualifying people to a shortlist, for example. But just me reflecting, that's been a big part of the business, like building a list of people to contact. And yeah, recently just thinking about what you said, like, it doesn't really matter how good the tools are if the person who's doing the tools is not at first, like, that's the foundation. They need to be enjoying what they're doing. They need to see that what they're doing is connecting to the parts of their life or their goals in life, right? It literally does not matter unless it's something completely automated, but usually nothing can be completely automated, or people pretend it can be, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you heard my talk about the hero complex in any of these conferences this year, at the moment that you're exhausted, the moment that you have painted your project or your job negatively, you're not caring about the best outcome. You're not caring to pour your creativity. You're just wanting to survive to the end of it. And at that situation, even if you have any AI tools, you're still in that survival mode. It's not what you're.
It's almost oh my God, wow. Imagine if you hate your work and you introduced AI. If I'm that person, like, great, I can now do less work and just like clock off sooner, at least mentally, maybe. Like, it would literally not help because you already have the foundation of not enjoying what even the outcome is going to be.
Yeah. So you're just going to be trying to do the bare minimum in order to survive. And at that point, if you're being introduced to AI tools, it's very, very easy to get something out of it. But is it have your prompt been correct? Are you going to the wrong direction with the answers that you're getting? It immediately is just emphasizing on the problem of your situation.
For sure. And yeah, a big thing on AI is, at least for us, is like consistency, for example. If it worked one day amazingly and the other day doesn't, this is going to be a rabbit hole. I don't want to make this podcast about AI, but do you have any comments about AI? Maybe thinking of the young person here, right? Because I think they get conflicting advice. Like, some people say, if you want to survive, master AI tools right now. You know, like, because everyone, you're going to be replaced by people who use AI. You're not going to be replaced by AI. Yeah. I'm just wondering what's been your experience with that comment.
Now, the big problem is that the people saying that you need to master AI, like, who has even done that? I've talked maybe two people that have actually gone and do processes around the large language models that has allowed them to do a little bit more than your typical random
When you say a little
shot.
bit more, what is that? Could we put a number to that? Is that like 10% more effective? Is that double?
No. I mean, to use it in a way that it's more than just I have a problem, can you give me a solution to that? And then you try it until it succeeds to a
I see what you're saying. So for example, if you're coding, some people say, hey, here's code, fix it. That's not mastering AI. But you're saying there's only two people who went beyond kind of that solution?
Yeah. I talked to a guy who has created multiple LLMs that discuss with one another through Trello cards. and they are basically, working together as, with everyone having their clear parts of ownership, that they know what they're allowed and not allowed to do, and then those actually kind of like a go through of designing something, then one programming it, then one testing it, running the test backs to the designer, adjust the design, give it to the programmer implemented the change, it goes to the testing. Now, that is a good use of AI in a sense that you're actually like building something bigger. But I asked like how long did it take to set this up in a sense that it worked, and he's like, yeah, about 4 months. And I agree. In 20 years, you can see the results, or if you scale this up, you can see the results. Sure.
Yeah, it's like solar panels, right? Like
yeah.
Like when are you going to get the payback? In like 20 years sometimes. Like,
Many of these things, like now I'm agreeing that this is mastering. You have figured it out how to use it. It's not mastering that you think that you know what are the right prompts to write in order to get a certain kind of a picture or text feedback or such. And everyone knows that if you write to ChatGPT of like, tell me why this is a good idea or tell me why this is a bad idea, it doesn't matter what the idea is.
Yeah, it will glaze you.
Yeah.
It will give you what you want to hear, right? And sometimes it will quote things that don't exist. I'm wondering, Joni, could you speak to that person who's listening to this? Maybe they're more junior, even senior, but like, how should they approach AI, if anything? Because like, if you could just talk to someone right now, when it comes to in the games industry specifically here.
I'll never have AI write anything of your own reports or anything of your own messaging or anything like that. Use AI to be, your editor in terms of telling you that, hey, your grammar sucks. But the moment that you actually let AI write something and pass it forward, there's already some research showing that you will not remember what was that text.
Yeah,
because
it's like a meta problem. Like, yes, you might have checkboxed, yes, I've done the task, but what does that show if you did that 50 times? You might lose the ability to have taste for that task.
Yeah, and it's like they even had some tests running where they would invite people into these sessions where they would be given questions and they would be asked to have the AI write the essay and then just edit it and put it in. And people started to forget that they were being asked the same like questions like every 4 times that they go there, and they just happily just went ahead and put it again in ChatGPT, the same exact question, because they didn't remember that they had put it there already.
Wow.
So it's like if you don't use your brain, you forget how to use it. And if you do something like if you're answering questions that you just think about it. Back in the day when we didn't have computers at school, it's like the teacher asks you to return the homework and you just copy from what your friend wrote and give it to the teacher. In this case, you would use the copy machine even and give it to the teacher. Then someone asks you like about that homework. How the hell would you know anything about that? Because you never put a thought on it.
Yeah. If you don't use it, you will lose it.
Yeah. So use AI more of getting over the blank paper. Use AI to edit your grammar, but don't get your answers from AI because then your brain is not registering those answers.
I prepped a question. It's a heavy question, but fuck it, we'll do it at the end. So, what's been the hardest part? You've been doing this for 10 years. What's been the hardest part of building Dreamloop?
To be honest, to know what to do. If I would start now a new company, it would be so easy compared to Dreamloop to just build a strategy and go with it. But this one was like we were still learning so much along the way that it was often very hard to understand, like what is actually yielding results when you do things. And be it going to the conferences and realizing what that's going to be worth, or following up on different things and what not to follow up on, and where to put your time, how to take care of yourself. There's so many things. Like everything comes down to like to understand what you should be doing. And I now, being on the other side, I've been mentoring others to tell them, what they should, in my opinion, do in that situation. I've been mentoring, I've been advising. But then I realized that at first I got that when we founded Dreamloop, but then I had like a 5 years, probably like a pause of like, I didn't talk about my situation with people with more knowledge and experience, and didn't engage with them. So I literally had to guess instead of having more educated guess from someone who had been already doing it.
Would you recommend that to everyone then? Like to have that as a default for the entire career? Just always have kind of a coach or an expert you can always like plug in when things aren't going well? Because you mentioned you didn't have it for 5 years, but I'm guessing you have it now, or?
No, I've just been creating more and more of this culture of like when I see someone who's more experienced than I am, I wonder if there's something right now that I'm thinking that they might know about, and then I'm like going and be like, hey, I've been struggling with this one thing. Do you have time now, or should we get a coffee sometime? Because I would love to get your thoughts on it. Just like just your advice on this thing. And it's been working for me now way better. I still don't have like go to mentor or go to advisors that much, but I'm starting to do that with the Finnish game industry and expand it. Like I often just shoot a message, be like, hey, been struggling with something. If you have time, like I would love to get your thoughts on that, because I don't know if what I'm thinking about is correct, because I'm of course only the average of the 5 people that I listen to most.
Yes.
So like I gotta get the sixth man in, or sixth person in, so that I can evaluate like, is it like I think it is, or is there something that I'm turning a blind eye on?
Mm-hmm. No, I can't second that enough. Like that's a big reason to why I'm here, and I took it for granted for a bit because I almost overinvested on kind of mentorship and coaching, and I had the attitude, Yoni, where if I saw someone doing something that I didn't know, I would message them, either get them on a podcast, haha, sometimes, or like I've done that with some of the business stuff. But the other one is I just ask them like, hey, can I buy your time? Some people gave it for free. Some people, I bought their time. And there's so many random things that happen from that. Like one of my 2 most prominent hires came from referrals from 2 separate people that I coached. One of them was another ghostwriting agency, and they saw the application come through and said, gaming writer. He said, yeah, you should probably speak with Harry. And then I interview them. Like just weird benefits like that. And I think it never hurts to have conversations with people who are ahead of you. And just like you said, not generic, like very specific questions. Because otherwise I've heard this from some people. I don't know how big of a problem it is. I haven't had it personally, where you have so many mentors where they give you conflicting advice. And that can be a big circle where you're spending so much time on that. But yeah, I'm wondering, for the people that you're mentoring, they have access to you. What if someone doesn't have access to you? Should they go find a mentor? Like, do you have any tips on how people can get this into their life? Is because I know someone's thinking right now, it's like, oh yeah, it's easy for you to say, Yoni, you're a big person in the industry. People are saying yes to your coffee invites, but I can't do that, and I need help. What would you say to that person?
There's always people willing to mentor you. I think there's even that one game industry mentorship list, a Google Excel or something that has that listed out. Also, just in general, like people that you do meet in the industry, it never hurts to start building that kind of a asking their advice relationship. They might. What's the worst thing? They say no to you, that they're busy and they don't have time. Sure. Then you ask 3rd time and they might have time, or on the 5th time.
Yeah.
And
or sometimes I've done this. Ask for a voice note. Some people are very generous. If they're maybe not willing to do the one-to-one stuff, they could just respond on a walk. And I've gotten some great insights. And I tend to do that right now a lot. And I've had very good feedback on my side. Like someone asked me a question, I just voice note the entire answer. And if they want to have a quick voice note conversation back, I found that's very useful. And sometimes that might be the start of, getting that one-to-one conversation.
Yep.
Love it. Awesome. Lovely. We've got into a lot. Really enjoyed this. Is there something you feel like we haven't covered that you'd like to cover for the people listening here?
No, I just want to emphasize that in these trying times and this very fast evolving world, both socially, from the social side and society side, as well as for technology, let's remember that as human beings, we have not evolved in the past 2,000 years. Our brain is still working the same as when we were at the early ages of civilization. We have not really improved, as there's not been that many patches, and the improvements have been very little. So we have to remember that a lot of the philosophies, a lot of the solutions lie still very long time ago. Many of those things, especially, for example, in philosophy, they're not outdated, they're not obsolete. A lot of the time, we can still fix our problems with some of the oldest solutions in the world.
Beautiful. Any philosophy books you recommend? I might have to pick one up after that speech.
I always recommend the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. If someone
Did you read the original or the recap? I've listened to the recap one. Haven't read the original.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into the original either. I have read the recapped version of it.
Yeah.
And eventually, when I have a good moment, I really want to dive into it more. Because if anyone was a CEO of their time, it was Marcus Aurelius, leading the Roman Empire while still being able to improve himself instead of, other of his, I wouldn't say co-workers, but the people in his position back then, might have gone mad or very war-torn or something like that. So, but Marcus was the CEO of his time.
100%. And for people who don't know, Meditations was never meant to be a book. It's actually just his personal notes to himself that he hoped no one would read. And then someone uncovered them and then they became a book. And they read really weird. Like if you remove all the Roman terms and you say this was written on a blog post and it was quite popular today, you'd feel like, okay, cool. It's so relatable. It's very crazy. So I haven't read Meditations, but I just found the book I did read. It was The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, which is from 2014. And he basically
I think
summarizes some of the stories.
Yeah, I think it's the exact book that I read as well. It's been almost 10 years now.
I might need to read it again. I think that's a nice reminder. Beautiful. Joni, thank you so much for your time. If someone's listening to this, which they've gone through the whole way and they're like, wow, what an interesting conversation. How can people reach out? What is the best way?
I mean, it's the easiest way is just to Google my name. I guess I'm the most known Joni Lappalainen now by Google. There used to be a ice hockey player, but I guess the career didn't go that well. So now I have reclaimed the number one search results with the name. And of course, I'm in LinkedIn and other socials. So.
Amazing. Lovely. Joni, thank you so much. And if everyone's listening has had a good time, maybe subscribe, go follow Joni. He is one of the few active creators as well on LinkedIn. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Alrighty. Peace.